We tried to get insurance. Because
He's a lot bigger than.
insured. So we called our insurance company and they're like, we've never had somebody try to insure a 17-year-old little business.
Yeah.
So they and we get through an insurance broker. I haven't used Pilot, but it's a pain in the so we're still with John. And they called us like a week later and like, we have like exhausted our resources. You basically can't insure him. He falls under your homeowner's insurance. So if you're the rock through somebody's window mowing or something, it comes back on our homeowner.
It's good to know.
What about an umbrella policy?
We have no problem.
Right, that's what I'm,
Yeah.
I said that.
Yeah.
Somebody gets to come in and get something.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's not too many. Sometimes I get tons when you send, I just send out. Oh, well,
Yeah.
thank you back. Are you gonna see this later? Yeah. That's good.
Maddie, did you resign from the Brewer kids?
No, I still have them Thursday and Fridays.
I saw
Yeah.
somebody yesterday. Oh,
Oh,
she
she's
said
looking
Wednesday,
for,
much easier.
Yeah.
She's looking for help when I have basketball, so
Oh,
I can't rep and watch the kiddos. Yeah.
So Ryan, did you get a call about me from someone from back to school? I had a phone interview and it's for teaching children at the school, just a little part-time thing. And
and my job record.
well, no, you're not a job reference, but what they asked is, I needed a supervisor for my current position. I said, well, I'm my own business owner.
Yeah.
Because I'm a real estate agent, and they go, well, you have to report to somebody, and I said, well, yeah.
Should give Gary Keller's number.
But anyway, if I doubt they're gonna call.
Yeah.
Because again, they asked me for all of my my high school diploma, my college diploma, and any education I've had since then. I'm like, my high school diploma, do you know that was a long time ago? So I'm 66 years old. I said, I don't
Who
even.
has their high school diploma?
That's what they asked.
Might be the army, because I was gonna.
Oh, so.
So you just take all that, and then I went to where you go to do this very end, and I was like. I can do this.
So if you get a good call,
So,
And it's back at like 3. Like there's no cell phones, there's no nothing. And your recruiter will answer the whole, you do not list. Has 45, I one in.
so anyway, after that's done, I can take it after I told them, I'm like,
I hate doing it.
but I go, well, how could we call this for character block? That's what I to do that. So anyway, if you give it to them, that way,
yes. Come on. Maybe they're going to bring.
We'll go do, we'll do that, we'll be laughing. Sure. You guys keep it. I go to like, nobody believes me, but I literally go here. There you go. I go to Maple Donuts for their coffee. And I just walk out with other things. Mostly I go for the coffee. I like there. It's like kind of weak donuts and coffee, which is. All right, cool. So what are we on, like 4 or 5 or 3 in terms of these workshops? 4? Yeah. And I'm curious, for those that have been to more than a couple, I want to hear some takeaways, ahas, of things we've worked on up to this point. And actually, let's do this. Let's everybody, let's go ahead and shut the doors and lock them, because we're gonna be doing live role plays up here at the front of the room. So we might as well get to know each other. So let's go ahead and start over here. Just introduce yourself and your name, like you're obviously, like if you're with a team or whatever, and then one interesting fact about yourself.
And I work with the Adrian Young team on their TC. And I have been to 23 states
There you go.
Lovely road trip.
Perfect. All right.
So my name is Jackson. I'm with the Adrian Young team as well. I guess one interesting thing about me is that I'm into cars. So that's
Cool.
Hi, John Lucas, member of the Adrian Young team. My big thing is with not doing real estate, I'm a big outdoorsman. Hunting, fishing, kayaking, hiking. Love to sleep on my 4Runner, go on road trips.
Nice.
My name is Carter Kegerace. I'm independent, and one interesting thing about me is I like to read.
Cool. I like to read too. We'll talk books. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody. I'm Nayeli Pena. I'm on the Randall Jackson team. And fact about me, I'm also a travel agent.
My name is Randall Jackson, team leader. I would say a fun fact about me is I'm also an investor.
Good.
I'm Corinne. I'm with the Rondell Jackson team. Fun fact, I'm a dance mom.
Dance mom. I'm a horse dad.
My name's Maddie Schellenberg. I'm on the Liz Hamburger team, and fun fact about me is I also coach basketball.
Yes.
Morning, my name is Randy, I'm independent. I'm a DJ.
Belinda Onash, I'm independent, and interesting fact, I homeschooled 6 kids.
Nice.
Nicole Yanks, I'm an independent, and I would say, fun fact is, I also like to spend a lot of time outdoors and try to hike 4 miles a day. The local state park.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's cool. We have a few people online. If anybody online wants to chime in, you're welcome to, and otherwise we're gonna keep on trucking. So, my name is Joe Cipollini. I've been a real estate agent for just shy of 20 years. And, I'm an investor and I work mostly in the coaching and education space. So Brian talks me into coming into the office. I live in this neighborhood behind here. It's not a very big ask for me to come over here and walk here. So I didn't this morning, but so he and I have a deal where I come and I love to work in this office. I love retail real estate. I also love investing. And the thing that those two have in common is that they are both a contact sport. And so one of my biggest pet peeves and things that I'm always very in tune to is that real estate is a sneaky place where people can do education and think that they're doing something to benefit themselves, and they're actually doing it to hide from the real work. Nobody in this room, right? So, so we're gonna
don't show up to any more meetings.
only show up to meetings if you are 1,000% committed to do something afterwards. If you walk out of any education, and I mean, if it's like sucks, then you know, which mine don't, but like if it sucks, then you can do whatever you want. But if you walk in and get handed something like this, which is literally a lead generation playbook that if you did 10% of it, you'd find something, right? You'd make money somewhere. If you walk into education and you walk out and don't behave differently than when you came in, then you were really just there for entertainment reasons, right? So that is the hill I will die on in coaching and education. I talk about this a lot of times with, I coach, normally I'm coaching like CEO, like leaders of other organizations. And so, you know, I have clients that have as many as 20, 30, 40 employees, and they forget that what they're actually, they think that like leadership is this like title, right? I'm a leader. And then they get like a name badge that comes with that. They're actually in the behavioral change business. Like when you want to get great results out of people, you have to encourage, nudge, pain and pleasure, and create a desire to behave differently and unified towards a common goal. So we are in the behavioral change room here, because if we don't change our behaviors, we will get the exact same results we got last week, right? Who got a deal last week? Contract written, signed in ink. One? You? No? One contract, 2 contracts. So everybody else in this room If you repeated last week 51 more times this year, how's it gonna go?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, that's so mean. But it's true, right? So it's like, all right, well, and I'm not saying, if you got a contract, awesome, right? And if you repeated your week and got one contract 51 more times, is 52 deals a year that you'd be pumped about? Yeah,
Absolutely.
cool. So if the Liz Hamburger team only did 52 deals, they'd be broke. So that actually wouldn't be a good week for them, right? Like they're over at Integrity First, which like that's the investment side of their business. Their goal is 10 contracts a week. They want to do 500 gross contracts to close 80%, which would be 4,400 contracts. So one a week doesn't cut it over there.
Perspective.
Perspective, right? So let's talk about what we're gonna do today. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna learn a little bit. We're gonna look through this lead generation playbook. So I went to the OG playbook. We've been working in and out of volume 1 and volume 2 MREA playbooks. The MREA playbooks are available online. Yep, there they are. There's one. That's actually volume 2. You see it up in the upper right-hand corner. It says volume 2. The OG one came out. It was hugely successful and popular. And so then they came out with volume 2, which is a little bit different, like a slightly different vibe, I feel like. Volume 1 was like they were just sort of like interviewing agents who were succeeding with different things that were working. And then volume 2, they got a little bit more, they did a similar model, but a little bit different. So actually, if you look at what the paper is that's in front of you, it's the 4-step lead generation playbook, and it has the names of the people in the upper right-hand corner that they interviewed to who helped them write this section of the book. Actually, fun fact, the entire Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, anybody ever read that book? MREA, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Cool. I would read it. It's literally, the title of the book is Millionaire Real Estate Agent, like Millionaire Real Estate Agent. It is designed, it is a book that if you open it and do everything from cover to cover, you net $1 million. No? No interest in that? Yeah, that doesn't suck. Okay, so the whole concept, yeah, but you have to do the work. Sorry about that. So
It's full.
it is full, and it's a dry book, and I'm actually going to pull information not just from that book, but also from another book called Shift. So we are in a shifting market. It is a fantastic time to dust off that book. Actually, I should talk to Ryan about doing a book club of Shift over the summer. Maybe that would be fun. So this page that you're looking at was pulled from not the one that she held up, volume 2, but volume 1, MREA Playbook. And it is a simple playbook. It is a 4-piece playbook. And so we're going to review this. We're going to talk about it. You are going to, and if you are not prepared with pen and paper, you might want to have them or a laptop, because you are going to look at this and you are going to design your own simple 4-piece playbook for execution. And if you look at number 3, everybody see number 3? Everybody see, number 1 is about like a neighborhood. Number 3 is about your direct contacts. 5 personal reach outs per day, 5 comments, 5 direct messages. We're gonna do that here. You're gonna talk to people here today. So you're gonna do some of that. So we're gonna build that. You're gonna do some of it. And then we're going to practice some role plays live up here. And by the time all of that's done, it'll be 11, what time is it? 11 o'clock. And we'll be on our way. Is that cool? Easy peasy? You guys all, nobody wants to leave yet? Okay, so. No, didn't actually mean it. Okay, so 4-step lead generation. Number 1, at the top, reading in the box. Number 1, define your lead generation options. So we all know that there are a boatload of options when it comes to generating leads. Actually, that's a problem. Who goes to the buffet? Anybody go to an Easter buffet? No? Nobody ever goes out and eats at a buffet? Has anybody ever eaten at a buffet?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what happens at a buffet? You go and it's like, what's the one that's Shady Maple, the one that's like enormous, right? You went, oh, okay,
It wasn't used to that.
okay, fair, fair. They mentioned that you went to the world's like largest buffet yesterday. I'm asking about buffet. Okay, so you go there, right? How many options do you think there are at Shady Maple?
Maybe 50, 60, maybe, you know.
Entree, like just entrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. How many of those 50 did you get?
Two.
How did you pick the two?
Usually like,
So you went to a place that had 50 options all over the map of like things you could have gotten, and you got the two things that felt the most comfortable.
sounds about right.
Exactly right. So the thing with lead generation is that there's a buffet of options, right? Anybody want to lead generate by TV? Why not? I mean, other than the fact that the budget will be about 30 grand a month. No, yeah, it's a terrible idea. It's a great idea if you have 30 grand a month. It's extremely capital intensive. It's also extremely effective, right? So, and actually, our budget, our TV budget is actually more than that, but 30 grand is like a starter. That's like the training wheels TV budget. So, everybody's like, well, no, I'm not gonna do TV. That's on the buffet, but I'm not gonna get that. Well, has anybody ever gone to the beach and seen the billboards of Mark Spain? Anybody ever hear of that name, Mark Spain? Huge realtor down and like he does like the beach communities. He's really big in Atlanta, and then goes down into Florida. So he does two types of lead generation for Mark Spain. He does TV and billboards. His billboard budget is in the millions of dollars per month, and his TV budget exceeds 7 figures per month. Literally the only two things, and he just spends a stupid amount of money on them and returns a stupider amount of money on them. Okay. So it's not about what's at the buffet. It's about what you're going to get and what you're going to enjoy and what you're 1,000% committed to doing. So when you look at this, and number one is define your lead generation options. I literally want you to think about what are the options of lead generation that are at the buffet and that you're willing to do, that you're willing to, like the two things that even if you're just comfortable with them, that you're just gonna get, that you're gonna do. So what I have here, the thing I like about this sheet is they kind of give a couple to you. Number one is the neighborhood blitz, which includes open houses. So everything that's in bold is a different strategy. So open houses, and it gives you a playbook there. Number two is expires and FSBOs, okay? Number three is database and sphere. And then number four is an event, okay? And what they sort of do there is, you see at the bottom there, it's like communication is an invite to an event. So they sort of broke it down into those four. I could care less what you're committed or what options are available. I'm mostly interested in what you're committed to doing. Who sent mailers? You sent mailers. What did your mailers say?
It was kind of like an intro, like announcing that I was an agent. I was just asking if people needed an agent. And honestly, like the turn back that I got on those, amount of texts and like comments that I've got, like, oh, I'm not looking now, but I'll keep you in mind to recommend, was insane.
Awesome. I love that you did it one time. If you never do anything again, was that worth anything?
No.
Perfect. So your mission then is so any like big, you have also a great excuse, because you had a big move. She has a big move. She just became a realtor. You guys had a big move. Anything that's like that, it gives you the content to reach out and not have it be awkward, right?
Right.
So it's like, hey, I have an excuse. You literally have an excuse to call every single person in your database, regardless of their interest in buying or selling. And it's not about them, it's about you. Hey, I wanted to let you know that I moved, right? And I didn't want you to have a hard time finding me when it's time for you to move.
Right.
Boom, make the calls, have all those contacts, and it's good to go. So the reason I ask that is because direct mail, postcards, etc., is a lead generation strategy. If you do it once, did you actually run the play?
No,
No. It has to be something that becomes a part of your business. Okay, so number one is defining the lead sources. Number two is picking 4 of them and writing your defined plays. So if you're going to, did you send those to people that were already in your database and sphere?
Yes.
Perfect. So then your actual playbook item is database and sphere. And the postcard that you sent is only play 1. Right? If this was football and we only played first down, will we ever win?
Nope.
No. So we need to know what the second play is and what the third play is and what the fourth play is. You should write those now. So that way you don't have to think about it or sit around wondering, because if that's what happens, you won't do anything. Action will not follow. So if you know what your next play is, then you can hold that play accountable. So everybody, right, what I would like you to do is to define the different options, and we're going to pick 4 of them with defined plays. Then we're going to go through the 4 that are on here, right? So picking a play each week and running it and tracking all your activities. So tracking all your activities is literally just keeping the score of the activities that you pick. So everybody, I told you to have pen and paper or computer, and I'd like for you to do this. So define your lead generation options. And if you want, like if you're new or like do you have an established lead generation plan? If I walk up to you and say, hey man, what are the top 4 lead sources you're going to work this year?
I might not have a top 4, but I have an idea of something I can use.
Cool. An idea of something I could use is not a play. It's like vague, squishy. So if I walk up to you and I'm like, hey man, what are the 4 things that you're going to attack every single week? I want you to be specific about that, because then it's like, cool. Then you wake up on Monday morning and you're like, all right, I know I have 4 things I'm going to work on and I can do that. And it gives you intention and purpose to go after it. Okay. So cool. So the good news is your business isn't so big and so determined that you're already done. You can decide whatever you want. So go ahead. Blank slate of paper there. Go ahead. Yep. It does not.
Okay.
So we're gonna go through this one, but it does not.
Okay.
You might have some internet stuff maybe, or.
Yeah, there-
Mhm. Yep.
that's fine.
Mhm. Guys.
I happen to know like an estimated billboard cost.
Don't do billboards.
I'm talking about like for the future.
Depends where you're at.
Yeah.
83 or 30.
So the reason I say don't do billboards, I had one. Billboards work at scale, but like the cost of entry to get to it to work is typically not worth it. So I think ours was, Brandon and I had one. I think it was maybe $600 a month for one on 83. It got us 0 things. 0 results. But
It's good for branding.
it is at scale. If you
Yeah.
can get yourself 3 or 4, it's all about the numbers.
There's a local market, Dottie's Family Market.
Mhm.
They have a TV up there. It's like $50 a month. I thought that was pretty decent for like the amount of people that go through there.
I'd rather you spend the $50 on mail material or something that can get you directly into contact.
Yeah, they usually try to sell a lot of realtors on that stuff.
Yeah.
You want to, the divider in the grocery store,
Mhm.
and put your face on
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I was
Or like you want to go on a golf course around all these $1 million homes,
Mhm.
but then again, your sign's like this big. That's what they try to do with realtors.
Let's have a really interesting and simple conversation, because that actually is a big awareness. So there are 3 components to marketing. I actually was in the chief sales officer role at Integrity First for a year and a half, and I learned more there than in almost anything I've ever done. And so let's talk about the 3 components of marketing. If you're a business and you want to get leads from anybody, really, there's 3 ways to do it. Number 1 is prospecting. Number 2 is marketing, number 3 is branding. Write these down. This is a completely separate conversation, but you just reminded me of it and it's super important. So number 1 is prospecting, number 2 is marketing, number 3 is branding. So let's be clear about what those three things are. Number 1 is prospecting, means you take action and the customer is on the receiving end of your action. Prospecting. So if I pick up the phone and I call an expired listing. It expired in February, they haven't relisted. I get their phone number, I call them and I say, hi, this is Joe. This is totally out of the blue. I'm a licensed real estate agent. I saw that you tried to sell your house. It went off the market in February. Has anything changed? Or if you could sell your house today, would you consider it? And the customer's like, dang it, you got me. I'm here, right? So I took action. They're now responding. Number 2 is the marketing. Marketing is you put a message out to a customer with a specific call to action, and we have a desired action that they'd like to take that will lead to business. Okay, so prospecting is we control the action and we are reaching out to them and we want to do business. Marketing is we put a message out and the customer has to take an action to come back. So what's an example of that? We've talked about them. The TV is marketing. Billboards. Mailers. Can be billboards, a pet peeve, a billboard, like Wellspan, they have a shitload of billboards. Is that a branding play or a marketing play?
Branding.
It is a branding play. Because what are they gonna do? Are you gonna like pick up the phone and say, I actually currently have appendicitis and I'd really love to come in and get surgery today, right? No, but they want to be the brand that you think of for whatever their branding is, right? Like like all the heart things that they do, right? Oh, we heart you or whatever, right? Their whole branding, but it's like, if you don't have heart disease, you're probably not a great fit for them. So it's not great marketing. Make sense? Okay. So marketing would be like direct mail, sending direct mail out. That has a call to action, as a phone number or something that you want the customer to do that takes action. Branding would be that third option, which is simply what we're doing there is we're creating mind share. We're creating mind share, which means that when the customer thinks of the time or when the customer reaches the time where they might want to do business, that we have enough top of mind awareness with them that they think of us. The problem is, and Google found this out, is that you have to do both the branding and marketing in order for it to work. Google calls it, they teach something called micro moments, which is essentially that if you do all of the branding in the world, but the customer in the micro moment when the decision's being made, if the customer has another option that's right in front of them, they are very susceptible to take that option. So even though you've done all the work of branding up until that point, no business. So Google does both. And then now they have monopoly, so it's like a whole different thing. What did Google start as? A search engine. Think about that. What did Amazon start as?
Bookstore.
A bookstore. Now what does Amazon sell?
Everything.
Everything. And they drop it by a drone, right? It's like crazy to think about that. Like Amazon has more value in their trucks than some companies have in their entire net worth. Amazon has an entire air fleet of cargo jets. They started as a bookstore. Think about the scale that is possible when you control mind share and then get the customer at the moment that they're making a decision for business. It's crazy. So anyway, small tangent, because realtors are very, 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 very susceptible to heading down the path of the least amount of rejection. Prospecting creates the opportunity for rejection. When you call and somebody says, F you, don't ever call me again, that feels not so great, right? And so prospecting, because it's like the same reason that you feel that the butterflies in your tummy if you're going to walk up to somebody and ask them for their number, or that moment when you have to have that conversation, and it's going to be either an okay, let's keep having a conversation, or a rejection of no. And prospecting has the option of no. And because of that, we're human beings, we're very soft, squishy human beings with little feelings that get hurt. And we tend to do what he just did, which is I'd rather spend $50 for my name to pop up every 4 minutes in a random grocery store because nobody can reject me there. I'd rather do that than pick up the phone and call 100 people a day. Not picking on you. Very common. What are you saying?
I said true, I agree.
Happens all the time. Happens all the time. So good lesson to learn. Because if you find yourself naturally like going to these, like if you look at your list and it's like, well, where are the places where I have a chance to get rejected? They might not be at the top of the list. Direct mail is sneaky because you don't see when your mail gets thrown in the trash can. So it doesn't hurt your feelings as much, right? So direct mail is actually a really great way to sort of bridge the gap between prospecting and marketing, because the prospecting aspect is you need to find the addresses, you need to send the things to the people. The marketing aspect is that your mail piece needs to be good enough that they open it, see a message in it, and call you. So it's actually a mix of both. Mail is the sneaky one because it's a little bit of both. You guys follow me there?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So now look at your list and ask yourself, are you taking direct enough action? The other thing to think about here is that marketing is cost intensive and prospecting is labor intensive. And until you are rich beyond rich, you better have prospecting on your list. Unless you're Mark Spain, where you can spend $1 million on billboards that literally just say Mark Spain. Until you're that rich, that big of a business, you need to keep prospecting in your business. And I would say until you are top 1 or 2 in those categories, so like something above $2 million very consistently, which would be a $25 million business, which would mean you're making $600,000 to $750,000 in gross revenue a year. Until you are reaching those points, you need to be prospecting focused and marketing enhanced. Once you hit about $600,000 to $700,000, you can have enough of a marketing budget that you can start to be a blend. But if you think you're going to be marketing focused and prospecting is going to be your like little sidecar, you're going to spend too much money to be profitable. Just, I hate to say like, just trust me, bro, but like, just trust me, because I've worked with teams that start as small as a couple million, and the largest teams that I was working with when I was a MAPS coach were heading into the $50 to $70 million range. And even still, they were having, they would have entire days where their whole team was prospecting. That was what got them to $50 to $70 million. So, okay, so you looked at your list. You're now at step 2, which is making sure you pick them and identifying your plays. So, step 3 is picking a play each week and running it. So, I want everybody to take a look at their lists. So you have the list of things you could do. List of things that you picked. These are going to be your defined plays. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to write something that is time-bound and specific and measurable. Anybody ever hear SMART goals? So we're going to write some SMART actions in relation to our lead generation. So I want you to write down specifically and with measurement what you're going to do the rest of this week. Not all week, literally just like, what's one of your things?
Open house.
Perfect. What day are you going to do an open house? Cool. Do you have one picked already?
I don't have one available that I can do.
You can do one of my listings. And if you want to come to Dillsburg.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yes, you do. Okay, so here's this. So that's on Saturday. What are you going to do today?
Prepare for it.
How?
Print out the documents, put out a sign.
Like, yeah. So like pick signs up, figure out whatever the neighborhood is. What's the day that the signs are allowed to go up? Like you are gonna design your calendar from now, which is Tuesday, through Saturday. You're gonna design your calendar so that that open house is a 10 out of 10 level of effectiveness. Is that cool? You just got a job description. Because like if you just show up and you're like, I'm a realtor, that doesn't mean anything. But if you're like, my mission this week is to get 20 people through this open house. And out of those 20 people, if I get a 15 to 20% conversion rate of those people who don't have a real estate agent, and I can create a conversation. How many did you get? No, 20%, 20% of 20. 4. If you get 4 people who you then create a conversation with at the open house who don't have a realtor, and you get all 4 of those people to be your clients, what's the price on the house that he gets to hold an open house at?
179.9.
You know who goes to 179.9 open houses?
First time home buyers.
Yes. Also, people who can afford $179,000 houses, right? Hold an open house at $180,000 property, get $180,000 buyers. What's 4 times 180? I'll do the math real quick.
720.
It's about 720. Yep. So $720,000 worth of business. If you close $720,000 worth of business as an individual, you are right on Kayla's butt for top 5 agent in the month. So go get it. Right? You guys see that? If that, like, it's like, do the work. That's what's at stake on the other side. So, and that's, but now you've gotten specific. You said, cool, my mission is to get 4 buyers out of this open house on Saturday. I'm going to hold that open house. I'm going to door knock. By the way, it's getting the buyers is actually okay, but the best play is in an open house is to get the listings around it. So door knock 20 of the neighbors. Is it in the neighborhood?
In the borough, so there's.
Tons of places to knock.
Without going too long.
Perfect. Dude, I want to hold that open house. If you're busy on Saturday, call me.
I would be doing it.
That's perfect, dude. Yeah.
I've been through this before. Do I need a soliciting permit to door knock for that type of stuff?
What are you selling?
My services.
No,
You're not selling anything.
You're not selling anything.
The way I would go around it, because this is a semi-detached property, I would just knock the doors and say, listen, I just want to let you know who's being an open house this weekend. Expect to see a little bit extra traffic, maybe not have your kids out front riding their bikes, just let people know that you're hosting an open house. There's going to be extra people coming around. If they know anybody that is interested in this
Invite the
area,
neighbors
give them a
too.
call.
Yep.
Yeah. Nosy neighbors love to come.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah.
Maybe I always invite them down.
Yeah.
I'd love to see you down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I would, like I said, I would be doing it myself, but I'm gonna. I'll talk to you afterwards. It can't be used as a rental. That's the biggest thing to know.
Look at that. Okay. So if you haven't finished it, go ahead and write down, right? So he just got a job. You guys need to write your job down. What's going to be your job in relation to lead generation for the rest of the week? Be specific. Like, I want to know how many doors you're going to knock on. What your target is. Cool.
Hey,
Yep.
what does the R stand for?
In SMART goals,
Yeah.
There's different versions of it. One is realistic.
Yeah, okay, realistic goals.
The A can either be action based or attainable. If it's attainable, then
You can reach it,
Then-
like something you reach it.
cool. We got about 5-10 minutes. We're gonna buzz through these 4 that are on this sheet. So again, as you're finishing up, take a look at these. So number 1 is designed for you, man. placing open house sign riders on Friday, door knocking 10 surrounding houses. This sheet that you're holding is your mission for the week, number one, right? Door knocking 10 surrounding houses. I would double that. In a borough, I'd be at 20. You wrote that down. Like
And
that.
our statistic says if you do at least 20, there's at least 1 to 3 sales in there.
That's correct.
That's the statistic. So.
Used to be that the number was 1 out of every 7 people would either move or know somebody who would move in a year. That, as the number of transactions has gone down, that number is actually now like about 1 out of 10. So if you knock on 20 doors, think about this in your head. If I knock on 20 doors, there are 2 people in that 20 that are either moving themselves or know somebody firsthand who's going to move this year.
I did a open house down in a trailer, I think 355 door feature or something like that. But I knocked on like at least 40 doors, and I talked to even more than that. I talked to like the whole community.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
it worked out pretty good.
And did you get leads?
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of leads.
What do you know with them?
Well, the trailer was already sold.
Who cares? Literally don't care. The house is the bait. If you want to go fishing, do you care if they eat that worm, or do you care about that you catch any fish? Catch any fish. The house that you're holding as the open is like the least of the important things that are there.
Yeah.
Okay? Call them. And because now if you know that you have a customer that wants to move and that house sells, it's like, oh, well, I guess it's done, right? No, it's like, no. Now you get to actually work as a real estate agent. You get to be like, cool, let me set you up on a drip campaign. Let me get a better idea of what you're looking for. Put them into your CRM. Now it's like, now you're actually building a pipeline of people that you can work with.
When I was starting out, I kind of used open houses as practice to talk to client people, so you weren't messing up these conversations with your own real clients. Like, yes, you're trying to get clients, but you're also just learning how to talk to people about properties and showing a property. So it's practice too.
Yep.
I could elaborate on that. So, when you think about practice, we got trained team members too. You practice doing role play sessions.
Yes.
You don't practice on the money, because when you're out there door knocking, I door knock too. That's real money, because you can get a lead from there. Like there's times I was door knocking, people like, hey, you come back here. I want to sell my house. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to practice on that. So practice on a role play so that you will already know what to say.
He's gonna get the fact.
And things like that. So like, don't practice on the money.
I think you're both right, because I think he needs reps.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So like at the end of the day, like this is one of the philosophies that Eric shares over at Integrity First. It's like one of the most impactful things to that business is he says that like, because like people will disqualify an appointment. They'll be like, oh, like they're not ready yet, or I'm not going to do it. And he was like, I'd rather you go out and be sitting at a dining room table having that conversation and practicing the most valuable skill you have, which is conversation and sales skills at a dining room table, than comfortably sitting at your office, not working on anything because you disqualified somebody.
I agree.
Be in every living room you can be in. Be in every kitchen and every dining room you can be in. So it's a little bit of both, right? You got to practice here so that you don't screw it up there, but then you need to be in as many of those as you can be in.
Yeah, start somewhere.
Exactly.
The mechanisms of a house and
Yeah.
how to show somebody.
Yeah.
A hot water heater, different types of boilers, like you learn that by being in houses and showing people.
That's right.
Yeah.
The other thing is you get familiar with what people are looking for. You're listening.
Yeah.
So you get, so you know what to talk about.
Yeah.
Not search the area that you're also doing the open house. Is there something else that's selling in that area?
Yeah.
Because people will, you know, if they're not interested in that, they might be interested in something else.
Take the MLS sheet of the gold money trick, right? Take the MLS sheets of neighboring properties. Do not make them available to the customers, but study them.
Yeah.
Okay? Because if you make them available to the customer and you hand it to them and they walk away, how much control do you have? 0. But if you're like, hey, you know what? you know, like this property doesn't fit your needs. Oh, because you said it doesn't have the fourth bedroom that you were looking for. There's actually a 4-bedroom that's 2 blocks over. I don't have the information with me, but give me your cell phone. I'll text you and let's exchange numbers and I will send it. I'll send you that information. In fact, what we can do is I can even set up a showing for you to take a look at that. You've already proven that you want to look at houses bad enough that you came to this house. So why don't we just go ahead and book one and we'll get you to look at that one, right?
And follow up.
Now we're working. You're not just like like hosting an open house is such a crappy way to talk about it. Feels like we're like at, you know, Denny's like hosting there. It's like, oh, over there's your seat, right? Like, no, like, oh, go take a look through the house, which actually I don't want to stalk people through an open house. What I want to do is I want to have those like key conversations where I'm in control of little moments in the house. That's where the gold is. Yeah.
What you said kind of reminded me of what my question was earlier. Whenever I'm prospecting, talking to people, usually the conversation ends with, here's my card, and they mention, I'll let you know, or yeah, if I need you, I'll contact you. How do I flip the switch?
You and I are gonna role play in 2 minutes on this. So let's just take a quick look. This always happens to me. I always get sidetracked. So I want everybody, she has to leave at 10:45, so she's gonna miss the fun. Everybody's gonna spend 3 minutes. You're gonna go into your Facebook and you are going to do the item from number 3, which is 5 direct messages. So everybody's gonna go into Facebook and send 5 DMs to people. So I want you to go to your newsfeed, start to scroll down, see what people are up to, and not comment, but I want you to see what they're doing on their page, what's interesting in their life, maybe a birthday. Birthdays are super easy. And I want you to send 5 DMs, and you are not mentioning real estate whatsoever. You are being Google right now. You're just getting into their head. You're just being relevant. This helps your algorithm and it helps your relationships. I think number 3 on this sheet is absolutely awesome. If you just did that, you'd be busy. You'd be busy for an hour, but you'd be busy. I think if you do that every single day, I would be really hyped to hear your feedback next month when we get together. If someone does number 3 every single day, someone's gonna have business the next time we get together.
I know they have like a professional dashboard now on Facebook,
Mhm.
so it keeps track and like it'll add like if you like leave comments or replies or posts, it'll like keeps this track thing down.
So yeah. While you guys are finding money, I'll tell I've been on a real mission. Our sales training is growing a lot, and we are right now on a mission to do exactly what you just described. So I just finally moved my Facebook to have the professional dashboard. And I will tell you that by posting reels, I've been posting a lot more reels lately. If anybody's my friend on Facebook, I've been posting a lot more reels. My engagement on my page, you can see the number went up by over 2,000% by posting reels on a every other day-ish basis. And then the other thing I've been doing is actually this number 3, I'm doing it for education. So I'm actually reaching out to people who own flipping companies and investors all over the country because I'm specifically trying to make those connections. Lots of tippy tappies. I see it. Oh, I'm sorry. 6,000% increase in my engagement. 5,174% increase in my engagement in the last 28 days. Mhm. Cool. Everybody talking to their friends? All right, we're gonna do role play here real quick. Come on up. Here, you go first. So, opening question for an open house. What's your opening question for an open house?
I'm not sure, question, usually how I portray when I walk in. When they walk in, is I greet them, introduce myself, and then I say, feel free to walk through. If you have any questions, let me know. Eventually, if you can make your way to the kitchen where I have some information and sign in sheet, that'd be great.
Cool, perfect. As a customer, I love that you just did that because it gives me all of the ability to hide from you, and I have no obligation to do it. I love that. That's great. I feel good about that. You won't feel good about that, but I feel great. All right, ready? What's your name?
Hi, my name is Carter.
Cool. So do it again.
Hi, my name is Carter.
Great. And immediately you need to be asking a question.
What brings you out today?
No, I have a better one than that. I'm gonna give you one and I'm gonna have you go write it down. And you're gonna use it 20 times at her open house this weekend. Okay? You ready? Everybody can use this. I got this from Phil Jones. I didn't make this one up. This came from Phil Jones. I was at Phil was at family reunion and he walked around. You think I'm mean? He walks around with a microphone and he like hands it to people in the crowd and then like on the spot role plays with them and absolutely makes them foolish. He's the guy who wrote exactly what to say. He is.
I went to his stuff too.
Really?
With Tom Ferry.
Yeah. So I'm actually getting certified on May 5th. I'm
Nice.
going to New York.
Nice.
So I'm scared.
How far did you travel today?
That's it. That's the question.
That's what I taught. I teach this stuff too. So, but
Yes.
yep.
So your first, what does he say? The last or the worst time to think of what you're gonna say is when you need to say it. So if you don't have a first question in your head, you won't have a first question coming out of your mouth, right? And then you're gonna say, go check out the upstairs, which they were gonna do anyway, and then maybe try to make your way back to the kitchen, which they won't, because that means they need to have confrontation, not in a negative way, but just any kind of sales confrontation. Their defenses are gonna go up and they don't wanna have anything to do with that, right? So, your first question, everybody's first question is,
How far did you travel today?
How far did you travel today?
how far did you travel today? Actually, he finishes it with, how far did you travel today to be here? Okay, so, start again.
Hi, my name is Carter.
Hi, I'm Joe.
You traveled today to be here.
I traveled from 3 blocks over.
Yeah. Are you looking to move? Are you looking to move or looking for someone else?
Decent second question, right? So that's, yeah, so that's a closed-ended question, only 2 options, binary, right? But like, what would be a really good second question if I said I just came from 3 blocks over?
What brings you out?
Yeah, well, what made you wander 3 blocks, right? And now guess what's happening?
Communication.
Communication, conversation, you're getting information. If, go back to your old one, which you're never gonna do again, right? But let's do it, right? So, hi, just tell me to go look at the bathroom upstairs.
Go ahead to the bathroom. They're going to make your way to the kitchen. I have a sign this week.
Cool, I'm gonna go to the bathroom upstairs, I'm actually gonna close the door and use it, not spray anything, and then I'm gonna pee. What didn't happen?
And get information from them.
That's exactly right. No information exchanged. And if no information is exchanged, how can you provide value to me? So why would I feel any sense of obligation, excitement, any urge to want to have a further conversation or potentially work with you if I don't know that you can provide me value? And I'm gonna run out the back door, right? Right? So, love it. So now what's your new first question that you're gonna ask every time? Hi, I'm Joe.
I wanted to be here today.
Again, just the 3 blocks. What's your second question? You can go, it's like choose your own adventure, you can pick whatever you want.
What about the road today?
Well, you know, I live 3 blocks over, I saw all the open house signs, thinking about making a move. And, so I just kind of wondered, out of curiosity.
Yeah, made you wanna move so close, you're arguing here.
Because I don't love that question, but we get some valuable information because I rent over there. Right? So like, think about that, like, there's so much information that you can get. And none of that you would have gotten if you told me to go look upstairs and maybe come visit you in the kitchen. Okay? Love it. Go ahead and have a seat. We're gonna do, so, one thing that you shared was, you fall into that trap of, not having clear next steps. So we're gonna do another role play. And we're gonna do the ending of conversations. So we're gonna fast forward, we're gonna pretend we play the fast forward button on an open house conversation. And we're gonna go to the end of the conversation. We're gonna talk about next steps. Let me give you some very, 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 very strict advice. Never, ever leave a conversation without an agreement of what's happening next. I only see 2 people writing that down. That is like a biblical level rule. Never, ever, ever leave a sales conversation without an agreement on what's happening next. You will end that conversation in salesperson purgatory. Words like, I'll get back to you. I got your card. I'll call you when I'm ready. I'll follow up. Right? You guys heard those words before?
Mm-hmm.
What do those words actually mean?
I'll never talk to you again.
Yep. Those words mean no, but remember, go back to human behavior. We hate rejection. So we love hearing those because they're not rejection openly. But they're rejection and you fall for it as a salesperson. You're like, oh, well, at least they didn't tell me to F off, right? But they did. They just did it as nicely as they could because they don't want confrontation just as much as you don't want confrontation. So you're both ending this conversation lying to each other and going about your day feeling great about it. It's insanity. So we never leave a sales conversation without clearly agreed upon next steps. Watch how that changes the end of an open house conversation. So who else wants to come up and role play? I need 2 people actually.
Can we volunteer?
She's volunteered. Yep, 100%.
You've been practicing.
Yeah, come on up.
Because
And I need a second person. You don't even know if you're gonna be the customer or the salesperson. You might just be the customer. Oh, we just. Like, yeah. Like his phone's on like his camera. Oh, I gotta go. You know. Okay, so we fast forward to the end of the open house, okay? Have you done open houses yet? Perfect. How many have you done? What? You've been licensed for like 6 days.
4 weeks, I did 1 week.
I love it. Okay, cool. So we're going to end the interaction at an open house, okay? So since you're the pro, I want to hear, right? I want to hear how so she's been here, you've asked her a couple questions, now you have a new first question that you're going to use every single time, which is? Perfect. And now we're going to get to this end of this conversation and we're going to leave it off. And you just wrote down this golden rule that now you can't break anymore, which is never, ever, ever leave a sales conversation without what?
No, your next step.
An agreement on what happens next. An agreement on what happens next. Okay.
Joe, are you talking for them? Because it might be clarifying. That they've already walked through the house and you're to catch them before they go, or this is the original conversation?
No, this is gonna be, so this is like the end of the end, right? So whatever that first conversation was, you went and saw the bathroom, like you came back down. And now because she asked you some questions, now you're not afraid of her. So you're gonna have that, like now we can finish up. And now I wanna hear, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna give her your business card? Okay, well, what are you gonna do? Let's hear it.
Oh, you looking for something bigger?
Yes.
How many beds do you have an exact amount of bedrooms you're looking for?
4 beds.
Okay, well, I don't have the information on me now, but let me put a star next to your information that you used on the sign-in sheet and I can send you a list of some in the area. Do you have an idea of how far you're willing to travel?
Yes, I want to stay at least 30 miles. This
Okay, well, I can get a search set up for you. I can send you over a buyer, agency agreement and we can get something started here for you.
Thank you.
It's too easy.
How'd she do? He gave a thumbs up.
Mhm.
Good.
She got good answers.
It's mediocre.
Good-ish,
It's
right?
goodish.
Yeah.
For 4 weeks in, she did good.
For 4 weeks in, I think it's like.
I think she did really
I think it's a
good.
good plus for 4 weeks in.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So that's great. Total artificial agreement over here, by the way, right? This was like this, she, the email address she's gonna give you isn't even real, like. Yeah.
Never went.
Okay. Well, so that's why you gotta practice.
Yeah.
Because, so what I want you to do in the open house is I want you to think of it like you're like cultivating, mining. You're out there, you actually want to create a little friction. I'm not gonna touch you, that's like a PR violation. Like we wanna create a little friction where it's like, it feels like you can create some value opportunity. Because the smoother you make it for the customer where they can slide in and slide out and not have any real engagement with you, that's when you're gonna get, hey, do you have an agent? Yes, I do. And then that's like their nuke, that's their ace, right? They tell you they have an agent and then they feel like they're safe. And
That's why you have to ask for their name, because half of them don't know, then you know they don't have an agent.
That's right. That's right. So we want to create a little bit of a little tension, a little friction, not in a negative way, but in a way that creates an opportunity where we can show value. And then the value is what we agree to deliver on the back end. Now, when you're creating an agreement, because she nodded yes and said yes and meant no, right? So we need to find the ways where we can create that agreement on what happens next and make sure that we have clearly deliverable next steps. So maybe a different way to approach that, again, good-ish. So like, don't take this as like you sucked, right? But it's like, hey, you know what? I actually am aware of a property because I was doing research before this open house. I'm aware of a property that I think meets your needs, maybe better than the house we're standing in right now. And I'd like to send that over to you. I know you put your information on the sheet, but so did like 14 other people. Let me just make sure. Do I have your number here? Let me just text it. And I'm going to text it in that moment, right?
I've done that before.
I want to text it in that moment. Really, really crazy way. And Phil Jones teaches this is hand them your phone.
Yeah.
Open your text message, hand them your phone. Be like, just put your phone number in there. That way, like, cause I have like chubby little fingers and I'll mess it up. You put your number in there and then we'll hear the ding when I send you hello, right? Which also makes them do what? Right? It's like not the, some random phone number. It's like the real number. Okay, did you get it? Yeah, I got it, right? So now it's like, now we know. It's like, cool. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave this open house. I always leave an hour of time after my open houses to make sure that I touch base with every single person who had any questions that I could answer. If I send this to you in an hour with the listing that I know of, that's probably a better fit for you, when would be a good time for us to get on the phone to talk through the features of that other listing?
Sometime this weekend.
Okay, cool. Yeah, me too, right? And it's Saturday because I'm up in Dillsburg Borough here. It's Saturday, so what you said you were super busy, and I respect that. So I don't want to miss you. What time do you think you'll be able to carve out maybe 15 to 20 minutes for a good phone conversation?
Saturday at 1 p.m. works.
Saturday at 1 p.m. Great. If I call you at Saturday at 1, are you gonna dodge me?
I'll try not to.
Okay, I'll call you at 1, and if I don't get you, I'll follow up with you. What time would be the second best time if Saturday at 1 doesn't work for us to connect?
7.
Great. So so I'm gonna try you at 1. If I don't get you then, I'm gonna call you at 7, and that's late. So I hope that doesn't bother you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm just gonna I want absolute agreement. It's hard for her. Like she might have tried to squirm out in the first one,
Yeah.
but by the third one, she's like, okay, fine, 1 p.m. I'm committed. And if not, I just gave you permission to call me at 7, which really is gonna suck. So I'm gonna answer you at 1, right? You see that? And it doesn't did it feel terrible for you?
No.
No, I didn't make it feel awful, but I also didn't let her squirm out of there, right? And now we have agreement, and we don't just have agreement on the time. What else do we have agreement on?
That you can call them.
I have permission. What else do I have agreement on? That's good.
To send her the information.
Go deeper. What did we actually agree on? Because I'm gonna send her the information. What are we actually doing at 1 PM?
Talking.
We're reviewing it together. So we have an agenda that we've agreed upon, right? Because because like you can all leave the open house, send the information, then what happens next?
If you don't follow up, nothing.
Right? Nothing. But now it's like, oh snap, that realtor's gonna call me at 1 o'clock. So that means two things. One, I'm actually probably gonna look at what he sends me because he's gonna ask me questions and I'm gonna have to give him some feedback on that. And two is as an agent, get a chance to show some value in that engagement, right? Which is the most important thing we need to be doing. Otherwise, we're just people that they're hiding from at the open house. Make sense?
Mhm.
Was that cool to do? So two things that you're gonna leave today with. Number one is you all took action. Anybody get DMs back? I saw a couple of people like pulling their phones out. Yeah, cool. It's amazing what happens when you actually text people, they might text you back. So we all did something to put our lives in motion, right? And we're all gonna be specific about our actions. We all have a job that we're gonna do, and we just wrote our job description down with our lead generation. That's that. Number two is at the open houses, which is one of the things on this playbook, is we now have an opening and a finishing. You can screw most of the middle up, but if you can open decently well, it gets the engagement going. And if you can close it with an agreement on what's gonna happen next, you now actually increase the effectiveness of what you're doing, because even if you botch that middle part, you now have that next chance, that next step. And as long as the relationship doesn't hit a dead end and it always feels like it's advancing, we're gonna keep them on the hook. And by the way, when you do agreement, it gives you an identity. Because when I say I'm gonna follow up with you, what does that mean?
You created, you're creating, a position of that could be considered trust.
Yeah.
If you follow up with them.
If you do it, 100%.
But if you don't do it, you call the ladder.
That's exactly right.
Right.
So now because we have an agreement, and as long, like doing what you said you're gonna do is one of the fundamental pillars of trust, right? So then if I do what I said I was gonna do, she trusts me more. I'm creating credibility for myself. I'm talking about product knowledge, which is ultimately showing professional skill. Like I'm doing all of these things that allow me to actually do my job, as opposed to finishing it with the other version, which is I'll follow up. And what do I get to do with that? Hey, you just did the tour, we end there. She asked a couple of okay questions and say, cool, I'm gonna follow. Is it okay if I follow up with you? You're like, yeah, didn't really mean it. And off you go. Now what happens next?
She probably won't answer your phone when
She
you call.
vanishes, right? We have somebody who's in our command that we're gonna try to call 47 more times. We may talk to them, probably not, and nothing happens. That's the difference. The difference is an actual lead with a pulse and an opportunity to serve. And we have agreement that we're gonna move that to the next step. You guys see how that works?
Mhm.
So now you've got an opening and a beginning for your open house conversations. What's the opening question?
Or how far did you travel?
Perfect. And then our ending is gonna be what? What are we gonna leave every open house with? Yes to that, but like, there's a specific thing. What do we agree to? Or, damn it, I said the word.
Agreement for the next step.
An agreement for a next step. An agreement. What does an agreement sound like? Both parties have to agree, right? So if I'm like, hey, I'm gonna follow up with you later today, right? And you're just like, do I actually have agreement? Not so much, right? So just make sure that like when I showed you that, it's like 2 to 3 layers deep of agreement. And one of the tricky things that I built into that role play, not that you have to do it, is building in consequence.
Yeah, and specifics.
Yes, so specifics are a big deal, right? So like when you did it, you got like 85% of the way there in terms of like, I'll follow up with you about this other listing. Cool. Like, cool. I'm like, hey, what time? 1 o'clock. Great. If 1 o'clock doesn't work, what's your second best time? And then it's like, oh, damn it. He's going to like hunt me down. Right. What's up, dude? What's going on, man? So consequence is like, if 1 o'clock doesn't work, what should I do next? Because then that tells them like, this is actually a serious agreement, not just a surface level thing that I can hide from.
And you also did some repeating and affirming.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you were like, oh, well, this time does work.
Yeah. Yes. All right, cool. That's it for time. We went a smidge over, but not too bad. Anybody, was it good?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, thank you guys, appreciate it. Yeah, you did, you got to be the customer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent.